carrots, fake fruit, fake grapefruits, fake liar, you liar!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
Welcome back to well, it is the Prepared Mind channel, but it is the Free for All Friday. I'm exhausted, folks. I'm beat. I hope you made it through the week in one piece. I know I made it in one piece, but good golly, what a beat up piece. I feel like a piece of bubble gum that's been stuck to a tire and just beaten all day as it spins round and round. So hope everyone's got a nice drink, a big stiff one, and you're ready to go. Bam! It is the Free for All Friday. Welcome back, folks. Get your questions into Jolene. As you know, Monday through Friday, we do live Q&A. We do live Q&A, but on Friday, we mix it up. A little me, little you, little me, little you. So get your questions in fast, early, and we will go rather than waiting till the second half of the show. And it's just a way to mix it up, to keep the action rolling. And we're going to have to do a round table, if not this Sunday, next. And we're looking at an exciting new guest star to join our panel. That would be doing stuff with Nikki. We're going to have her on the show. She is a firecracker and a lot of fun, and will bring a lot of liveliness to the show. Not that, me and the other roundtable guys are a bunch of old fox, but you know how it goes. Anyways, let's do this. Let's get into what is happening. This week has been awful for free humanity, for free people, for a free economy. It's just been awful. And I like to bring a lot of fun if I can to the show, but gee many crickets, what a shitball week. I mean, this is just to give you an idea how fucked up things are, right? The idiotic White House spokes thing with typical do-gooder idiocy says this. This is Karine Jean-Pierre, right? One of the dumbest humans on the planet. She says Republicans busing illegals to other states is different than Biden doing the same thing. You see, when Biden lets illegals over the border and then buses them to Republican cities and Republican states, it's because Biden cares. But when Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis put these same illegals on buses and then send them right into the heart of liberal world, New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, then, that's racist and wrong. And it's incredible, folks, how quickly, places like Martha's Vineyard, they got buses there fast. They got those illegals out of there quick. They don't want to have to look at the ugly they create. And folks, that's really, really what they've created. They've created an awful lot of ugly. And get this. Unbelievable that he says this, right? Vladimir Putin of Russia. He tells his allies, got to be careful when you read a story. It says, Putin tells his allies, Russian allies, that he's in no hurry in Ukraine. Putin is in no hurry. And he also warns of more serious actions to come. This does not bode well for Europe, folks. Europe is in a big hurry to get natural gas and other energy restored. They would love to have the Ukraine fight end soon. End fast, end right now. They wish they could win in Ukraine, folks. But Putin, guess what? Russian oil companies, Gazprom, have enriched themselves at the benefit, right, of what Europe has done to hurt itself. So why should Putin be in a big hurry to finish off Ukraine? They're relying on a volunteer army. They're getting the job done. They're doing what they want and need to get done. They're in no hurry. Why? Why be in a hurry? Right? Because it is Europe, folks, who is getting hurt by this. But Putin does say there's more serious action to come. He's not going to really show his cards. He's not really going to let everybody know what he's doing before it happens. He's not going to telegraph his moves. He's not going to put everything on the table or take it all off. Putin, pretty smart. The West, pretty dumb. Putin's country is enriched. Right? The ruble is worth more. Countries are begging him to sell oil to them at a huge profit. And Europe is struggling, folks, to have enough natural gas to have a frickin' barbecue. Just absolutely incredible. Jolene, let's do this. Let's see if we can kick off with a good one. Who do we got who's just waiting in the wings? We're going to start with Doc Holliday, who is a king of all caps. He says the United States is corrupt to the core. What I'll agree with you there, the United States government. See, I used to just say the United States, but that incorporates me and you, all of us. The United States government, the DC government. Yes, corrupt to the core. He says, we have no idea. This is Doc Holliday. He says, no idea who is controlling the Biden administration or any other politician because of acceptable practices in DC. Yeah, we don't know who's in charge. We know Biden really cannot be. Once again, in the headlines today, Biden was on stage, does some blah, 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 blah into the microphone, and then gets confused about how to get off the stage. You would think that somebody who doesn't really want to be there, because he knows, we know, his handlers all know he's going to fuck up. You think he would know exactly how to get off the stage. You know what my recommendation is? They get one of those little red laser pointers and they put it at his feet. And like a kitty cat, they just kind of hold it out in front of him so he chases the laser pointer off the stage. How hard is that? Cats can figure out how to chase the laser point. Why doesn't Biden? Unbelievable. We don't know who's in charge. Well, what we do know is that Barack Obama is basically his boss. And we know that there are huge moneyed interests influencing the Obamas. Isn't it interesting to see that the government in Washington, D.C., the U.S. government, is the absolute best that money can buy? It is all corruption, Doc. It truly is. It's all corruption. And I'm going to give you this. I'm not going to one-up you, but I'm going to add to what you got. So we'll just take Doc Holliday off the screen, and we'll go with this. Have you ever heard of a Democrat congressman named Steny Hoyer? Steny Hoyer. Well, I've heard of him, but he's basically one of those back row, who the fuck are you type guys. Anyways, this idiot, this Democrat idiot, comes out and admits that the deep state is real. But instead of hiding them, instead of saying they're the bad guys, he goes way off script, folks, and actually reveals something that we all knew. Get this. While speaking, he went off script and he applauded the deep state. Here's his quote, folks. Speaking of Republicans, they have made it quite clear they want to eliminate what they call the deep state. The deep state. Now, this is his praise of the deep state. The deep state is a cadre of professionals dedicated to honoring the Constitution, laws of this country, and carrying out the policies of the Congress and the president. The deep state, folks, is a cadre. Let's use some other words for cadre. A cartel. They're a gang. They're a cadre. Oh, unbelievable. They're a cadre of professionals. Well, see, here's the deal about professionals. See, professionals are for hire. Patriots are loyal to the country. So they've got professionals for hire who are dedicated to honoring the Constitution. Oh, you mean by destroying the First Amendment and destroying the Second Amendment and destroying the Fourth Amendment and destroying the Fifth Amendment and trampling the Seventh Amendment and pissing all over the 10th Amendment and the 14th Amendment and every other amendment they can get their hands on. That is how they honor the Constitution, the laws of this country. So these lawless, unconstitutional bureaucrats who violate laws, the deep state, they are, folks, they are the deep state, the bureaucracy, the FBI, the IRS, ATF, et cetera, et cetera. And so they're not only being recognized as the deep state, but they're also now the good guys. That's corruption for you when your elected officials tell us that the people destroying the country are the good guys and the people that are destroying the Constitution are following the Constitution. That's how far the idiots, folks, like unknown, the unknown idiot Hoyer, Steny Hoyer, the unknown Hoyer, that's how far they've come. They're liars, they're tyrants. And folks, the bad guys are here to save us. Can you freaking believe that? Oh, folks, this is what we talk about when we say, hey, shit has hit the fan. You need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine. Means of self-defense. You need a plan. Because these freaking idiots are out here, folks. And they mean it. They absolutely mean it. I mean, get this. Biden just is absolutely bad-mouthing Republican governors for sending migrants. I'm sorry, they're not migrants. I had to just, throw in a term used by the mainstream media. He's pissed off that Republican governors, let's name them, Abbott and DeSantis, they're sending illegal immigrants that Biden sent into their states. So he's pissed that they're sending them into his Democrat cities, especially D.C., especially Martha's Vineyard, especially dumping them in Camel Toe Harris's front yard. That's right, folks. He calls it a political stunt. The phrase, the colloquialism, political stunt, used to refer to an action taken by politicians for publicity purposes. Something that really doesn't change or fix anything, but it sure sounds and looks good on paper. It sounds good in front of a microphone, but it actually does nothing. Well, this is bringing to the attention all Democrats and all Republicans alike, as well as the Make America Great Again crowd. Everyone is now aware that Democrats are a bunch of lying, stinking, tyrannical hypocrites, that they don't have any problem sending these people into, Republican states, and they want to get all pissy and butthurt if they get sent into Democrat cities. I mean, they get one busload, two busloads, and they call it a humanitarian crisis. They call it a state of emergency. Folks, Texas, California, Arizona, New Mexico have had over 4 million illegal immigrants dumped on them. Unbelievable. Hey, get your questions in. It is the Friday free-for-all, folks. Are you ready for more SHTF? And oh, by the way, this Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. This Sunday, it'll be Sunday Night Live at the zoo. You're going to have a good time. We will, folks. Bring our beverages. Bring that beverage. I'll be ready, folks, with my scotch. I'll be ready with my Captain Morgan. And I hope you'll be ready, too, and that you'll have a big, stiff one poured in a drink. Ice or neat, doesn't matter. It's yours. Cocktail or straight up. Take your pick. All right. Wow. Everything has a double entendre when it comes to a free-for-all Friday. And I think this weekend, I don't know which way to go. You guys, you tell me. This weekend, I'm going to sleep in tomorrow, Saturday. I'm going to sleep in a little. Should I go with the black roast coffee rum, the Kraken, or should I go with the Don Tadeo cappuccino? to make my coffee just a little more spicy, you let me know. The Don Tadeo came from Nikki, and the Kraken came from Jenny Jen, way out in my old hometown of California. Whew. Let's do this. Let's try to get one of your comments in, your statements, questions. And folks, get in what you want. Comment, statement, prediction, future, news, joke. It's your turn. If you're on the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com, either one, you get to be here live daily. No extra charge because you've paid. It's like a discount program, 7 cents a day. Literally, that's what it costs to support this channel, to support my bunker lifestyle. All right, let's see who's next. Jolene, who do we have next? Oh, man, I'm shrinking in my chair. We got Gary D. He says, this country is in a perpetual state of emergency because of D.C. Well, true. The District of Criminals, Washington, D.C. We are in a perpetual state of emergency, and it is not because D.C. is out there fighting the Green Goblin and the Penguin and all of Batman's enemies. No, it's because D.C. has caused all of this. There's social programs going all the way back to the 1960s and beyond. I've taken money from the poor and the middle class and redistributed it to people and actually also enriched those in power. Because Biden gets his 10%. Don't think for a second, folks, that Biden is the first politician to get his cut. I mean, look how much Nancy Pelosi has enriched herself. And that skank has been in office for decades. Yep. I wish I could turn $100,000, $200,000 a year into $200 million. I'd like to know how that trick works. All right. The country in a perpetual state of emergency. You bet. They've created this on purpose. So if you create a crisis, you can stand up and say, don't worry, folks, we'll fix that problem. And they never really fix it. Right? They created the Great Society, the Great Welfare State, in other words, in order to fix the problem with poverty. The war on poverty is still being fought, folks, and we're still paying for it. Talk about a perpetual state of emergency. That's what the government has done. It's created an entire subsection of the population that hates other Americans, but is more than willing to stick their hand out and take money. It's just incredible. It's incredible. I mean, let's go with this. I'm gonna segue from that right over into this, folks. There is now another Democrat in the state of New York who is endorsing a Republican governor over Governor Kathy Hochul. I mean, what a name. Sounds like something you do in the bathroom if you've got a sore throat. I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go Hochul. Anyways, yeah, another Democrat, folks. Now, the reason they're doing this, the reason a few of these Democrats are doing this is, guess what? Remember, Kathy Hochul told Republicans to get the hell out of her state, to get on a bus and go to Florida and never come back. Well, the other longtime Democrats realized that these Republicans in New York and New York City have an awful lot of money, and they're not going to invest it in New York, in buildings, in real estate, and in business. They're gone, and they're taking their money with them. So these other Democrats realize we can't live without Republicans and all of their money. You slimy douchebags. That's right. So this guy endorsing Lee Zeldin, the Republican in New York for governor, he's not endorsing him because he loves Republican values or loves the Constitution. They just come out and just said it. This is about money. They want to keep your money, folks. They want to keep you as Chris P. Bacon calls them, tax mules. He wants the people, the Republicans in New York State, to stay there and be tax mules and continue to pay dime after dime, dollar after dollar to the government. So, yeah, Kathy Hochul is chasing them away. And now they've got crime-ridden cities in New York, including and especially New York City. But yeah, also Buffalo and other New York places. Isn't it Buffalo, New York? It's not like Buffalo, Pennsylvania. It's Buffalo, New York. Anyways, look out, folks. You know something is fishy, something is smelly in Denmark when you have Democrats endorsing Republicans. And it's not like Kathy Hochul has been a bad Democrat. She has the same policies as the prior governor, Cumho, and the same policies as Prickster and Newsom and every other Democrat governor out there. What a piece of work. At least they're revealing their corruption right up front. We don't want you to go. We want you to stay here and bust your ass and pay taxes. Well, there it is. All right. Well, let's see. Who wants to be next? Who wants to step up with a question, comment, whatever you got? It is the Free for All Friday. And I'm curious what you're thinking. I've got a shit pile here, but I want to spend a lot of time talking about what you guys want to discuss. And we've got David. And he writes this: if they want us under their thumb and they want socialism, is the economic collapse part of their plan? If so, why are they delaying and propping it up? And since we can't stop it, what is the best we can hope for coming out the other side? Well, that's a series of statements and questions and ideas that I think is profound. Thank you very much. Let's go back to part one of Le Questione. They do want socialism. They both want us under their thumb as political servants, not free people. They want us under their thumb. Bam. And they want socialism. Socialism, folks, is authoritarian power under the government. They want socialism. And so they need, in order to bring down our constitutional republic with a constitution, right? A real constitution. A constitution is a binding contract, folks. They need economic collapse as part of their plan. They need to bring down America. And if you think they haven't brought us down, think about all the major corporations who sell products in America. But when you look under the lid, you peel back the label, it says made in China, made in Mexico, made in Brazil, made in Indonesia, made in India. They took all that business out of the country, all those jobs out of the country. They've been doing it for decades, folks. Economic collapse is part of the plan, but it's not an event, right? The time it becomes an event is when we realize it. We're like, holy shit, that guy came on TV and said we've got economic collapse. Scary news. But in truth, it's been working along. Slowly working along. It's just there come, shall we say, pivotal or seminal points in which we realize how screwed we are. And that's when new people go, holy shit, it's hit the fan. And they start looking around and realize, holy cow, there's an entire community here on the Prepared Mind channel. People from all walks of life, all races, all genders, everything, right? Ages, geography, we're all screaming, shit has hit the fan, what the fuck? So let's go to the second part of David's thing. It's part of their plan, economic collapse. Well, they're delaying it because they don't just want the world to collapse and then fumble along to the next step. They want the collapse, and then they want their solution, which is going to cause, shall we say, resistance. So they want to get through that resistance and offer their solution and then be prepared for the next bit of resistance, right? It's a series of problems, their reaction and solution, the response to that. They got to create more problems, their solution, more reaction and response to that. It's a series like a staircase, right? We go over, we go down, we go over, we go down, we go over, we go down. And they've been doing this. They're propping it up. They're delaying it to make sure that their plan is in place. The next step. They're going as fast as they can. Trust me. Trust me on that. Trump actually delayed their plan. He delayed their plan, folks. He gave us another 4 years to take a look at what the hell's going on. The best we can hope for, I'll tell you what, David, I'm not a cynic in that way. I'm not a pessimist. The best we can hope for coming out the other side is America wakes up. We fight back in whatever manner, degree, and fashion is required to clean the scumbags out of DC in a literal sweeping motion, folks. Rah! They're out of here. Read into that what you will. Or the free states in the South say, you know what? To you, DC, we're taking our ball and we're just not going to play with you anymore. We're not going to be part of this corrupt Washington, D.C. authoritarian socialist regime. Thank you very much. We can live on our own. So there's a couple ways it can happen. But either way is one I see where we have freedom and our rights, and they're recognized. The people are the authority and the government is the servant. And I will say this, the nastier, the more harsh, the uglier, the more bloody the response is, the more our rights will be reinstated. Folks, the tree of liberty is watered with the blood of saints and tyrants, patriots and tyrants, Americans and tyrants. The more that is spilled, the more we are guaranteed freedom on the other side. Do I want to die? No. Am I willing to fight the fight? Yes, we're fighting right now. We're willing to fight right now. Unbelievable, folks. Well, you guys are asking such great questions. Let's do some more. Get your questions into Jolene and she'll get them up on the board for you. Let's talk about what has got happening. We got Mikey G. He says restoration of the USSR is Putin's goal. Then the world. If that's Putin's goal, Mikey, I don't think he's going to have the time to make it happen. The way I see Putin, what his goal is a stronger Mother Russia. Now, the USSR was communist. I think that they learned that communism, that is to say socialism with state-owned property, doesn't work real well. Centralized planning fails. In fact, the United States of America is demonstrating that globalist fascism with centralized control is equally as big a failure. Right? They need to destroy America, and they're using the model, the government model, right, that they have to do actually the destruction. I don't know why they think that once they have control of America as a tyrannical state, that all of a sudden fascism is going to work. It won't. It won't. It truly is. What I think is Putin wants to make Russia strong. I think he does want to control their own destiny. They're going to create a, I don't think they want to create a union of Soviet socialist republics, but they probably want to create a union of nations that share their values. I don't think Russia really wants to take over and control other countries, but I think they want to control the narrative. I don't think that is too far out, right? Putin wants to argue or debate and make deals based on logic and discussing what is mutually beneficial for the countries, right? Is that better or worse than, well, this country over here has corporations that bought out everyone, so that makes that the best system? Well, that's the system the U.S. and Europe have. Who has the power and the money to buy someone out? Who's better friends with the bankers so they get the best deal to screw all of their competitors? You know, that's the system we have in Europe and the United States of America. Whew, I tell you, this is a story that came up. And it really pissed me off because this topic pisses me off. And I wanted to share it at this Free for All Friday. And I want to tell everybody when they get to watch this on YouTube over the weekend, click the thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, click subscribe, right? And share this video. Share the URL with others. We need to spread the word. Shit is hit the fan. We all know it. There's no sense hiding and pretending like it ain't happening because you can see it. And you need to share with everyone else. Let them know what the hell is coming. Now pay attention to this one, folks. The U.S. Army is conducting a drone swarm exercise using armed quadcopters. That is inexpensive drones that are armed. So the U.S. Army, folks, is conducting a military exercise with armed drones, similar to the ones that you can buy off the shelf. Now, I don't like the idea of drone armies. Do you see where these little light in the loafer, pink-haired sissies, well, they could fight a war, a battle with drones. They could sit in the comfort of their beanbag with their favorite plushy animal in their safe space while they harm others and use their upset emotional feelings to really go out and lash out with their little pretty claws at the rest of the world using drones. See, they don't need, or they think they're not going to need people like me and you, right? Put on a pair of combat boots to grab a rifle and go face the enemy. They want to use robots, folks, whether they're on the street or in the air or in the water. Now let's talk about these drone swarms again. Imagine a battalion. Imagine a couple of hundred Army soldiers controlling drones, and they fly out, and their job is to subdue the enemy with armed quadcopter drones, right? Just like you and I can go buy off the shelf, only they have explosives on them, right? All they got to do is just fly it right into somebody. Basically, a kamikaze. Now, I want to remind you of this this phenomena, this more recent phenomena of United States congressmen, United States senators, and even the president, Xi Biden. Let me remind you that they've been threatening Americans with military action, claiming that we have assault rifles and weapons of war, and then telling us they have the F-16s or the F-15s, and we need to get some, threatening us with nuclear annihilation. Yeah, you can't take over the government, you stupid patriotic Americans. We have the nukes. Right? They've distinguished themselves not as a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, but rather a government that sees itself as deriving power for itself, by itself, and from itself, and then taxing us because it has a right to our wealth. They see us as the enemy, folks. They see parents as domestic terrorists. They see veterans, right, as not a patriotic militia, but a dangerous domestic insurrection force. And I will say, if Americans get threatened by a politician with drones, it is going to be time for us to take real, direct action against them. Because drones are very local. Drones, folks, just piss me off. That some candy ass somewhere, once again, can sit in his little gamer chair and hurt people with no consequences to himself. If his little drone crashes, who cares? He'll just get another one and go hurt more people. This whole concept of using drones has led to the chicken shitization of the military and the Pentagon and the DOD. We don't need to allow these people to get an army of drones, folks, a drone swarm. And anyone that takes care of these drones, makes these drones, arms these drones, and releases these drones, they share in the damage caused by these drones. I don't like it, not a bit. Right? I understand surveillance and everything else, but these people are a bunch of chicken shit candy asses. People like Merrick Garland. What a little turd. Merrick Garland. Right? Who is this little cretin? Wants to call American patriots, tax-paying Americans, call them a threat. The Make America Great Again, the America First crowd, we're the threat. That's what they think, folks. And I bet they are just licking their chops thinking about armies of drones being used to go out and fly over cities and search for targets and attack. It's cowardly, folks. I believe in addressing your enemy. That is to say, dealing with your enemy, old-fashioned, old-school style. All right, let's do this. Let's move on to one of your subjects before I, pop a blood vessel. Gary D says, I actually think the USA splitting up is the only answer. We definitely have irreconcilable differences. The government only cares about perpetuation of itself. I agree with you 100% there on the government believes in the perpetualization of itself. And irreconcilable differences. That is a term that was commonly used to settle a divorce, right? You can't fix the marriage. There's differences that cannot be reconciled. They cannot be altered and straightened out and fixed. Think about Nancy. Think about Mad Maxine Waters. Think about Bernie Sanders. Think about Joe Biden. Imagine if Joe Biden had to live in your house with your wife and your daughter, your sister, whatever. Think about Joe Biden in the same house as your mother, right? Why do we have to live with these fucking people? Well, because we all live in this country, right? We're supposed to be able to tolerate the other side. But what does the other side want? What do the Democrats, socialists want? They want us to obey their every edict. They want to lie to our face and have us accept it and believe it. They want to take all of our money. They want us to eat bugs. Eat bugs. They want us to believe that men can get pregnant. They really believe that, folks, these idiots. I mean, you want to talk about a case for irreconcilable differences. So, yeah. So how do you solve the problem of a nation divided philosophically? Or rather, one side has a philosophy of freedom and liberty, and the other side has a propensity to enslaving themselves to government. Right? I don't need anyone to command me to do anything. But there's another segment of the population that wants government to tell them what to do and act as the father figure. Well, like a divorce, you split it up and you do what? Splitting up the USA. Well, you split the country and you give half to one side and half to the other. Okay, you go right ahead and keep California, Washington, and Oregon. The South, the free South, can keep, I don't know, New Mexico, Texas, the Gulf states, all the way up to North Carolina, and then through to Kentucky and Tennessee, Missouri, maybe Kansas if they can get their shit straight, right? And they can have the rest. I don't know. Maybe Wyoming will come on over. How about this? How about the states decide for themselves whether they want to be free or socialist? Well, that kind of sounds like what the country should be under the 10th Amendment and the Constitution. That every state be a sovereign nation, joined in union for the purpose of self-defense, right? And the regulated, or shall we say, flat playing field. No special privileges for some, right? No hurting others, right? A level playing field, a fair playing field. Well, we had that system and it's not working because of Democrats and their bullshit, right? I think it's time to be done with them, right? This railroad strike supposed to be avoided. We're gonna buy off the unions or what? Well, Bernie Sanders, folks, the little socialist, the little communist who likes the gulag prison system of the Soviet communist Russia, who says bread lines and food lines are just fine, right? And having your money taken from you and redistributed, thinks that's a great idea too. Unbelievable, folks, where these people are taking us. I mean, how does that go? To hell in a handbasket, right? Up shit creek without a popsicle stick. Good golly, right? Yeah, Bernie Sanders. He's a great example. We need to put people on one side of the line or the other. I really think that's a great idea. I don't want to see, folks, partisan war. I don't want to see civil war. But guess what? I think it's coming. Jolene has let me know we got a lot more questions coming in, so I'm going to stop dwaddling along and I'm going to see, what do you want to talk about? Let's see it, Jolene. We got Eli in the Wolverine State here on the Prepared Mind. Free for All Friday. He says, Putin only needs to sit and watch the idiocracies destroy themselves. Why would Putin want their currencies? He can't spend them. Right. Absolutely. Many of us have been sitting in the back row, sitting in the back of the room, quietly watching. For years, I have watched Russia and China buy gold, buy silver, acquire control of mining properties in resource-rich nations around the world, sometimes even in America. Sometimes the resource is food, sometimes it's metals and other resources. That's what they've been doing, quietly acquiring gold. Well, they saw and they knew that this collapse was coming, and they prepared themselves to put themselves in a position to benefit. Just in the last, 8 months, the ruble, the Russian ruble, has gone from being next to nothing to being one of the most powerful currencies on the planet. Now, in the West, they manipulate, they lie, cheat, and steal, and do all they can to make the dollar, right, dollar hegemony to continue to persist. But it's failing. All Putin has to do is wait. He doesn't have to be in a hurry. He can just wait. He's kind of like the bear. He's the Russian bear, and he's sitting on the side of the river, waiting for the salmon to swim to him. That's what's happening with Russia. The rest of the world wants to play stupid games with energy. Well, guess what? They're going to win stupid prizes. Ask the people of Germany and the rest of Europe how they like paying enormous, immense, out-of-control energy prices. They don't like it. Well, Putin just has to sit back and wait. He doesn't have to be in a big hurry to defeat Ukraine. He doesn't have to do anything dramatic. He just has to watch the enemy destroy itself. The idiocracies. It's actually a great way to refer to them. The idiocracies are doing that. They're destroying themselves. Sadly, folks, you and I are part of that system. Not as willing participants, but as, I don't know how to put this, hostages? Hostages? All right. It felt to me like Jolene really wanted to get to this next question from East Texas Country Boy. So let's have it. And East Texas Country Boy has this to ask. He says, how long until vigilante justice begins? Charles Bronson and Batman are ready for reincarnation, I hear. When you say Batman, do you mean Adam West, or do you mean, which Batman? There's been so many Batmans now. And Charles Bronson, boy, if you aren't 50 years or older, you wouldn't know who Charles Bronson is. But yeah, the tough guys, right? Mr. Majestic. Vigilante justice is not far away, in my opinion. I brought up the topic this morning of the Chick-fil-A employee who stopped a carjacking and possible kidnapping. A Chick-fil-A employee. I brought up the story this morning and said, are you really ready? Are you ready to take action? Vigilante justice, folks, means the people taking action. The government's failing. There's crooks, there's criminals, there's bad guys, and they're not being stopped. Kind of like the crooks, criminals, and bad guys that are coming across the Mexican border into America. And Joe Biden has done everything he can to impede and even stop that from happening. So vigilante justice, right? Grandma's birthday party gets shot up. The people fight back. Right? The graduation party gets shot at. The guests return fire. That's not vigilante justice, folks. That's self-defense. But the more it happens, the more it occurs, the more people are going to be inclined to take the law into their own hands. We know, folks, and this is what gets me. You and I know the difference between right and wrong. You and I know, right, what is good, what is bad. We know. We don't need the government to tell us that. We hired the government by creating the government and said, look, you do that. That is your job. You protect the people and keep the peace. And when someone does something wrong, you arrest them. You give them a fair trial. You sentence them if they're found guilty and release them if they're found innocent. And then you incarcerate them to carry out the punishment, right? That's the criminal justice system. The government has been charged with doing that for us because we hired them to be our servants for hire, our bitches who get a paycheck. Now they want to tell us they're our bosses. Idiots. But here we are, folks. Vigilante justice. The government doesn't want to do its job. There are, an entire city in North Carolina, every single police officer quit because they had a social communist appointed as the city manager or something. Unbelievable. The people are tired of this shit. So yeah, they'll defend themselves. That is the first step. When people have so much criminal activity going on that they feel they need to be prepared to defend themselves, and then it starts to occur. The people are like, we're not just going to call the police and wait around. Now, it just absolutely frosts me to see these videos on subway trains in the big cities. Videos where someone on the train is misbehaving very badly, and the rest of the passengers sit around and don't do anything. They just watch. They're like, yeah, I'm not going to get involved. I think that is becoming more rare. It's still upsetting to see, right? When someone commits a crime and no one will raise a hand. Back in 1987, I was in Oakland, just got done with the MEPS, and I had someone try and steal my wallet, got into a fight in the street in Oakland, and I was yelling, hey, call the police, this dude's trying to steal my wallet. No one did a fucking thing. They just watched, right? And now I bet today, if that were to happen, there'd probably be one or two people that would make their way over and help fix the situation. Now, I was much smaller then, folks. I was only, I think I was only 5'10" and maybe 140 pounds. Just a skinny little kid. Wow. All right, let's continue with the show. It is the Friday Free for All, and we got a lot to talk about. You guys got more? What are we going to talk about next? I think it was we're going to James Nicholson. I thought I thought East Texas Country Boy had the correct Batman he wanted to put up. There it is. Adam West or Michael Keaton? Fuck the others. Adam West was an awesome Batman. The original TV serial Batman. He and Burt Ward as Robin. Loved that show as a kid. I loved Batman every day. It was great. And then I had to start this thing called school. It was terrible. All right. Thank you, Jolene. And Michael Keaton was a great Batman, all things considered, in the Splash return, one of the biggest blockbusters of all time. And it was who was the director in that? Very popular director. He did Beetlejuice and a lot of other movies. For some reason, the name is escaping me. It could be because it's Friday and it's been one hell of a week. From 0 dark 30 all the way till the sun is set again. I've been working every single day. Can't stop. James Nicholson says, question, John, what about those of us caught behind enemy lines if the country was to split? Yes, this is a very sad and disturbing thing that happens in every single war, James. Every single war. I remember the 1990s when there was a problem with Slobodan Milosevic, or Milosevic, right? We had ethnic cleansing in the Balkans. Yugoslavia, the former communist nation, split into a bunch of little states, right? And we had the battle between Serbia and Kosovo and all these little countries, and you had Muslims and Christians fighting each other. And people who are on the wrong side, they're like, we need to get out of here. But what do? Well, what was interesting is the people on one side, if they were Christian or Muslim, they would find out who each other were and say, let us trade, and they would switch places, switch homes, switch estates. And now, how did they figure out if it was fair, if it was equitable? I don't know. But they wanted to get to the right side. So let me proffer you this, James. If you're behind enemy lines, meaning you're stuck in a Democrat shithole, I would think that people in the free states would want to get rid of their Democrats. And they would advise their Democrats, we're going to help you get the fuck out of our country and get up to the rest of those socialists that you want to be around. Because it's not going to happen here, right? Because the country splits. I don't think we're going to have a socialist north and a democracy south. It would be a southern republic. I don't think we would allow and continue to allow and persist ideas that are socialist in nature and destructive to freedom and liberty. I think I would be at the front of the line saying, we just played that fucking game. We're not going to allow socialism to control our lives. I think freedom and liberty essentially speak for themselves, right? We know the good that they do. We don't need to have an experiment and see if we can mix a little socialism with our freedom. It doesn't work. It never does. It doesn't. It never works, folks. And by the way, right, to give you an example of how you can't mix woke and freedom, you can't mix a strong national defense and critical race theory. Literally, folks, the Biden legacy is divide and destroy. Not divide and conquer, divide and destroy. The Department of Defense, their equity chief, their fairness chief is so woke, right? And has a history of anti-white Twitter comments. How can the military, how can the Department of Defense be woke and keep everyone there who can do the job? Anyone with any dignity, self-respect that doesn't agree with these fruitcakes, they're going to leave. And those that don't leave are going to what? They're probably going to get fired by these anti-European, anti-freedom, anti-constitutional culture. There's that many of them now. They're in positions of power. And this is the Biden legacy, divide and destroy America. Well, it's happening, folks. People are moving to the South at greater rates than ever. Talk to some friends in different areas, and they say the same thing. It's incredible how much road traffic there is now. The influx, the growth of people who have come from the north to the south to be free is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Even up in the states like, let's see, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, they're being flooded with people who are coming out of Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, even Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania. They're leaving the north, folks, to get freedom. Okay, who's next? Jolene, who do we want to put up on the board? Who's got the next statement is Blue Cord Devil. Blue Cord Devil says this. Did you see the DQFF of some Make America Great guy with a gun? Reminds me of the guy with Trump stickers on his van in Florida. Let's see. Did you see the Dairy Queen false flag? I'll tell you what. Yeah, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it, but it does remind me of the guy in the van in Florida who had Trump stickers, and they were trying to say that he was committing acts of terror. And, you know, this is a deranged right-wing lunatic because, well, he has a Trump sticker. Kind of like the DeSantis supporters who were wearing Nazi paraphernalia, Nazi insignias. I don't want to call them uniforms because they weren't quite uniforms, but they were obviously a bunch of Antifa college nerds dressing like pseudo-Nazis and then claiming they were in support of DeSantis. You know, we've seen it every time. We're afraid of right-wing extremism, but what do we see? Left-wing extremism. Every single school shooter, folks, has left-wing lunacy literally stamped on their forehead. Unbelievable. And the press still continues to say that it is right-wing extremism that's dangerous. The FBI continues to say, you, patriotic Americans, are the bad guys. Their stories don't hold water any more than a colander, for rinsing your lettuce, holds water. It's incredible. The hypocrisy, the idiocracy, the lunacy, and the lies coming out of D.C. This country can't hold itself together much longer. It's coming apart. I mean, look at New York. First, they want to tell everyone, get the fuck out of our state if you don't like socialism. And so the Republicans are like, tip the hat to you, motherfucker. I'm out of here. And then they're like, no, come back. We want your money. Fuck you, New York, Illinois, California, Washington, Minnesota, Wisconsin. There's not enough middle fingers for all of you Democrats out there. The fight is going to be on, though, folks. It will get violent. I have no doubts. It's just how big, how widespread, how often, and for how long. Mad Max is coming. I sure hope you're prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and a means of self-defense with your plan. Ooman says, I don't see the nation splitting up. Logistically, practically impossible. One side has to take over and stomp out the other side. Oh, man, I tell you, Ooman, I would, you know how I see that playing out. In order for that to play out, and I love, folks, you guys don't understand how fun it is to just sit down and debate and chit chat with Ooman. It doesn't matter if you disagree, agree partially or not at all, or totally agree. You just have a good time talking with Ooman. Here's what would happen, man. Let me ask you this question. Once you start killing commies, why stop? Is that a fair question? If you kill one commie because they're a communist, shouldn't you just kill all communists? Folks, this is what I grew up with in America, right? America, the United States of America, used to have this saying, right? The only good commie is a dead commie. If I'm going to kill one, I may as well kill 1,000. If one communist is bad enough to be killed, then they all should be killed. Am I wrong? I know they think that way about us, extreme right-wing people. We need to kill them. We need to put them in work camps or re-education camps, exterminate them. We need to drive them out of our country. But it's not your country, you bunch of fucking commies. It's ours. But I see what you're saying, man. If this country split, if this country split, right? How do you equitably split a country? Hang on to that thought there, man. How do you equitably split a country? Right? You have so many things that are required to make a nation work. And America, the United States of America, has all of the resources it needs, from energy to wood, raw materials and metals, the technology, distribution system, right? We have all of that infrastructure there. We have the West Coast and East Coast, the Gulf Coast, right? If you split that up, all of a sudden, the Northeast can't benefit from the South or the West. And likewise, but what does the South need that the North has? What does the South need that they can't get from other countries? Right? What does the North make that the South has to have? Automobiles? You can get those from North Korea. You can get those from Japan. We don't need automobiles coming out of Detroit. So what do we need out of the North? Well, got some interesting questions there. Well, what about the mighty Mississippi, right? The Mississippi River. Well, what if the North, builds a big dam and stops the water up and diverts it and does this and does that and doesn't let the water flow, into the South? And can they pollute the fuck out of the Mississippi? Well, that's not nice because we love the planet, right? It becomes this battle for resources. So how do you split the country? One side or the other is going to feel like they got a raw deal. Well, how do you think it feels to be a country in Europe or a country in Africa or South America or Asia? where you have a few resources and a couple of commodities and some industrialization, but you can't live on your own. America can live on its own with food and energy and productivity, but that has been threatened and stopped and fucked up by the Democrats and the Rhino Republicans and the globalists and the mega corporations. So yeah, it doesn't seem like we could split up and get along real well. In fact, that was really what caused the North to attack the South and burn Georgia and rape the women and kill everyone they could in the Civil War. War is ugly, folks. The North could have just said, yeah, you go ahead and do what you want and go that way. We'll go our way. Everything will be fine. They're like, hey, holy shit. We're losing our resources for good. And in fact, that's what prompted the tensions in the Civil War. Is the North wanted the natural resources that were being grown in the South. They wanted the cotton. Of all things, folks, the war was fought over cotton? Well, back then, folks, they didn't have computers and cell phones, right? You had what was needed to get through life. Food, shelter, clothing, medicine, right? Means of self-defense, water. They had food. They grew it and hunted it. They had water. It rained, right? Shelter. They built little houses. They had clothing. They had rudimentary medicine. And they had rifles and pistols, self-defense. They didn't need all that other shit. So when the South said, you know what? We're taking our cotton and we're going, right? What happened? The North was like, hey, that's a commodity we take. We take and we refine it, and then we want to sell it for a profit. They were taking that huge section of the economy away from the North. The North wanted to fight over it. Anyways, folks, we have some big questions in America that need to be answered. Are we ready to fight over what's going on? Are we ready to fight for this country? Are we going to fight to keep it together or fight to split it up? Partisan conflict is coming, folks. Some might call it civil war. Certainly, we have a great deal of I can't even say it. Now I must be as bad as Biden, right? Irreconcilable differences. I'll see you Sunday, and we're going to carry on this conversation. Kraken wins. Thank you, Jolene. It'll be the Kraken for breakfast. Godspeed to all. Semper Fi. Thank you for coming to the Prepared Mind channel. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscription button. Subscribe. And, of course, share this internet address. Get the word out, folks. You better be prepared because shit is going to get worse. It's already hit the fan, and now it is spinning and making a mess.